Finally, after the year 2020 there is hope for our species gathering in 2021. Ascension Age Awakening awareness that ancient wisdom and new thought teachings are the same narrative. We all have a connection to a force, a source, and the energy that is essence in many levels. We are being visited and always have had visitors who are evolved and can observe our evolution as beings. We all may be being visited by other extraterrestrial beings. More intelligent beings are visiting some of us. I have had a life of being indoctrinated into a level of life or an evolution of acceptance. What I have learned may be beneficial to others. There are some who are looked upon as research. Therefore, I am willing to pay the price and risk exposure to ridicule due to not being the normal disclosure. I was taken to the spacecraft after it came down and made a pass overhead. First, I couldn't believe what I had seen. Then it returned and was lower and I could tell it was searching. Searching for something or someone. My senses were heightened, and I knew this was not a dream, and not in beta state of mind. This was the in-between, where I was ready to wake up out of sleep. I was not dreaming. This was really happening and not a lucid dream. It was time to get real and own what I know. For the entire planet and all species thereupon it have been visited and watched and explored for as long as we have lived. We have had ancestors write about these visitations and have kept records throughout time. Again, it is my turn to tell what is real to many and researched by many who never have an awakening experience. I have had a life of visitations, and due to the times, the challenge is to own the experiences. Own the knowledge and to share the information that we are not alone in the universe. This information is as old as humankind has been able to come and go from this planet. We now will own our involvement with seeding other planets and being visited by our predecessors. Many will now like what we share in this time on Earth due to the challenge of the change in our experiences. We will be more apparent and will share more of our lives that seem paranormal and not protected by the ones who would have us believe they are in charge of our welfare, such as governments, church, and state. This is why the experience I was allowed to have was made known to me in an open mind state of being aware. The starship or UFO or UAP to many will be one like we have seen called a shuttle. Small in comparison to the larger ones. This was a small shuttle I could see into when it approached and hovered. I went to look into the window. Looking out were two men. Both were young in comparison to humans. In their early 20s if I had to guess. One was Chinese looking and mixed, and the other Irish looking and mixed. The Chinese had one blue eye, and one a yellow gold eye color. He had dark hair and could pass as a human easy if need be. But not sitting in this ET craft. The Irish looking was familiar to me. Something inside my mind was a feeling as if I knew him. I had seen him before in other places and possibly in space. He had red color hair, light skin and freckles. But he had three eyes all blue. As I was allowed to look into the hovering craft, I could see in the back which appeared much larger than the front. Odd I thought, but knew this knowing of bigger inside than outside. I had experienced this on ET craft before. A room with a woman in a uniform had dark hair and was a woman of color or mixed hybrid being. Race and color was of no consequence in space. Intelligence was important and logic. A white uniform similar to our white US Navy uniform let me know I had worn that uniform in space before. I was a part of the secret space program we speak of on Earth. This was a test and the two men opened the craft and now no separation between us. I was inside and reminded of all my realities for being on Earth to usher in this epoch as the Ascension Age. This was the same feeling I had from past sightings of UFOs and UAPs. My whole life was learning of these beings. In the past they would simply be maneuvering as swoops into view and back out again. Unless I was to be taken and IWASW schooled of all world religions and the Jesus story we all were immortals and the be kind and to love one another as our Father in heaven loves us came to mind. We all are coming and going to learn and evolve our own soul's eternal progression. This is the narrative and the 7 vices into 7 virtues we hear about on Earth to come to Earth and change inside our own selves. self-activation and self-realization outisda of th source, which was the force and energy in us all. I know now to be able to accept that the presence of higher intelligences which look like all of us on Earth was true. Knowledge I had to gradually allow to sink into my psyche, and to own that knowledge as wisdom that in the future I would not deny. I would own my life, my story, my experiences. Write about them. The knowledge of all my life in the past 69 years was taking shape, and now I could write about the long-term life experiences. Why we were to being watched, and why we were to explore space and to steward this planet while seeding other planets. Why I was still on the planet was to be here now to assist others to know the truth about who we are and where we come from. I always knew I was part of the storyline for those who sought courage and wisdom, curious about everything was a measure I could share. My part in this time as a writer was due to many of my past lives of which I participated in to educate the masses. It was time once again to take hold of my courage inside this physical body, mind, and to be strong as a spirit to unveil what has gone on for millions of years in what we call the expanse of space. We are all a part of the universal intelligence, and the Absolute has always been able to create and to teach all of us how to procreate, and to make sure the entire expanse was seeded with others who were like those from the beginning of time. We all had a place and a reason for being and for living out our lives wherever that may be. Now, I could own that I knew all along about all those who came before, who were known as ancient aliens, former gods and goddesses, and various people who were sent to tell the story that we are not alone in the universes. We are all part of a larger grandiose experiment, and while many of us look similar on planet Earth, there is also a mixed breeding of others who look similar, as in a head, torso, arms, and legs, and may look similar but different. The young man whom I thought I knew from times past had a déjà vu knowing about him when I looked at him. I could sense him speaking to me inside my head, and he knew what I was thinking. He got closer, and when he did, that was the time he looked me in my eyes as he leaned forward, a third eye open. In the middle of the forehead, where his two eyes were, there was a third. I was sent a message to remember this time in this realm of existence, and to begin writing about all that I know about those who come and go from this planet, and also to begin exploring the other realms of consciousness. We have many dimensions to explore, and all of us are to evolve at our own pace. The challenge is to learn and to know what is real from that which is only perceived as the truth. Truth based on experiences and not just nature. The challenge of being a humanoid sentient intelligent being is to learn how to evolve in many cultures and many challenges that are presented to us in places in space, so we can learn to not just survive but know we are all to thrive in a larger expanse than we have imagined. We were taught of our imaginations being the vehicle for the soul for a reason. These visitations of mine always have a meaning, and a deeper meaning, and this one had shown me some tests we had to take, among others using our minds to learn how to solve problems that were foreign to thinking ways of this planet. I saw a blueprint, and on it had been spread on the ground out as to the spacecraft, and I was to gather other people who appeared to solve the various problems. We will evolve knowing of others in space as those who came before. This was exciting to me, as the one young man who was Chinese said to me with ESP, "How do you always make a perfect score?" He voiced his amazement at my abilities to solve these various problems we were given to solve. I saw the craft leave afterwards the same way it came down to this planet. UFOs and UAPs are real and just a future version of us working in areas of space and in realms we can only imagine. I will share more of my life over time. T.J. Morris, American Communications Online, USA. We all dream and imagine. Let's do it together to make the world a better place, even in space. We all know we did not create the pyramids or Sphinx. What else do we know about that is not shared with all of humanity? We are all a part of a grander theme. Embrace your humanity as futurists. Be curious enough to participate and take action. Learn the truth about all that has been before and is again. Prepare now as we all evolve and learn the truth of our ancestors and future selves in space. Embark on the soul's spiritual journey of extraterrestrials, realms, dimensions, planes. Open your conscious mind, soul, and body, your neural net of being more than you are now. A whole new you is out there, waiting on you to awaken to the future possibilities. Enjoy the spiritual science of us all. We share in unity, open source intelligence.